Flosstubers. It's been a couple of weeks since I've made a video. Today is March 28th, 2016. First of all, I want to thank everybody for all the great birthday wishes. It was just meaningful to me that you would take the time to wish me a happy birthday, and I got a chance to spend it with you in a little portion of my birthday day, so that was pretty awesome. So many thanks again for the well wishes. Today's going to be a little bit about everything, my life and what's been going on. It's really difficult for me to be personal with my own life, but at this stage of my life I decided sharing things may help somebody else down the road in their journeys and their struggles. So if you could just kind of bear with me. So this weekend, or Saturday, I went to Fargo. Had to stop at the Nordic Needle, and since the store has exchanged hands, it's really become a different store. Rather disappointing, I must say, to some degree. The store had a lot to do with Hardanger. Now that's just such a minor part of the store, which is okay, but from what I see, it has not changed for the better. I went in there looking for a memorabilia pattern. They had about, I want to say, 6 or 8 patterns there. I was looking for Maidens of the Seasons, the 2 patterns, and of course they didn't have those. They had the Raven Queen in red and the new one, the snow one, and a couple others, and so that's all that they had. So my next search was for a long dog pattern. I was looking for Plight of Fancy. And excuse me, I've got really a raspy coughing thing going on here, so I apologize if I sound froggy or if I start coughing. And of course I didn't set any water next to me or anything, so hopefully it'll be okay. Now that I talk about it, my throat tickles more. They didn't have any long dog patterns there, and they used to carry them all the time, so I asked the girls about it, the 2 young ones that work there. They didn't know what long dog samplers were. They researched it and they could order it for me, but I can go online and order that myself. So I didn't get that either. So I looked at some of the Gloriana thread and didn't purchase any of that. And another disappointing thing too is they have customer service Monday through Friday, and there are people at the store all day Saturday, but they do not answer phones. And so if you have a question about an order or want to place an order, even though they're there, they won't answer the phones. And I just don't think that's very good customer service, in my humble opinion. So, and then now, Nordic Needle used to send out catalogs all the time. Well, now, I guess if you're in the store, you can pick one up, but if you go online, you have to make a purchase in order to get one, or you have to pay $5 for shipping to get one. And I don't think that's very good customer service either. And I understand it's an expense, to send catalogs out, but I see them in the future getting away from catalogs altogether. Excuse me. Goodness gracious. Okay. So the only thing I picked up in Fargo, went to Hobby Lobby. I bought some pretty lace. I saw somebody had used this on, excuse me. Rule number 1, don't make a video. I agree with you, Joe. Don't make a video when Even though I enjoy watching yours. I don't want to make a video when I'm sick and coughing. You listen to me hack all the time. And then here is the second, here's the second one that I got. I had seen somebody, these were only $5 a piece. I thought that was a good deal for a whole roll. I had seen somebody put it on a little pin cushion, the Love Never Fails one, and they had tea dyed it. It was beautiful. So I bought some. I don't make pin cushions, but I love this, the lace. Anything lacy I love. Okay, so what's going on in my life? Wow, I have so much to tell you. I've been in a stitching slump, part of not feeling good and having a cough. But it was 2 days after my birthday. I had a doctor's appointment that morning, and everything went really well. So thank you for all your prayers and concerns, dealing with my diabetes and keeping my sugars under control. But so I got back to school about 10:30, and the superintendent called me about noon. I had a room full of kids, called me down to his office, and then the assistant principal walked in, and I knew something wasn't right. And so the superintendent came in, and he says, it's part of my job to let you know that the board decided not to renew your contract next year. So I asked why. I mean, this just came out of the blue. And he says, our lawyers advise us not to give you a reason. Let's just say we're moving into a different direction. And of course, South Dakota is a right-to-work state. That means that they can let you go at any time for any reason and not have to tell you, which I think is a shame. And I didn't cry, but I had a room full of students up there that I had to face. And so I made it through the day. There was a big meeting after school on teacher salaries. You know, South Dakota passed the law of giving teachers salary increases. And I just didn't feel the need to stay there for that, since I was no longer part of that school. And I found out the next morning that he had told the staff that I was non-renewed. I didn't have a chance even to tell my family or my kids before he was telling staff. A lot of staff felt that wasn't right either. But when somebody doesn't get non-renewed, it always puts people on edge at their jobs. The superintendent did come to me the next day, and he asked me, he said, Judy, are you okay? And I said, absolutely. God has a plan. And so he said, I want you to know I didn't sleep last night. And he said, if there's anything that you need that I can help, if I can give you job references, if you need time off for job interviews, please let me know. I'll work with you. If you don't have enough time, I'll give you the time off, which I thought was very considerate. And it took me a while to figure out why I'd been there 2 years, why I was let go. Last year, our head sports coach, basketball and football coach, came. He's a graduate out of the school. Excuse me. His wife is graduating with a degree in special education. She worked as a para there this year. Excuse me. And basically, they're going to give her my job to keep him. A school not too far away from our school. And mind you, this is South Dakota, so schools are long distances away from each other. Happened to her, she was a mom expecting her first baby. The board decided to non-renew her. And I guess she was okay with it since it was her first child, and I don't think it's right. The school hired a husband and wife team. He's teaching science. So in order to keep him, they gave the wife the special education job. So these school politics, I'm just so done with it. I'm excited what God has in store for me. I had a job interview at a bank today. I'm hoping to get it. It's right in town here. It pays fairly well, not as much as I make now, but it pays good. I just have to have faith and trust. So many of the jobs are so far away from here, which means I would have to move, and I wouldn't have my friends or my family nearby. And that's always a difficult decision, too. But pray for me anyway, that God places me somewhere where I belong. Okay, so that was Tuesday, if that wasn't enough to handle. And I had made an appointment with my car on Friday. It needed a new hub and wheel bearing. Not a huge deal, right? A couple $100. Well, it was making some noise, and especially when I get up to about 50, 55, it'd want to act like it wanted to cut out. So I took it to the parts store, and they ran a quote on it. And it was a couple of sensors. So when I took it in Friday, I told them about it, and they said, well, sometimes we can fix one sensor without having to fix the other. Thank you, Jesus. So I'm sitting in the waiting room doing my needlework, of course, just being very happy. And the guy came out to me and said, Judy, this isn't good news. I want you to come back here. He said, I actually want you to see it for yourself. So I went back there, and the whole power steering rack that goes between the wheels underneath the car is cracked. They weren't going to let me drive it home. I said, I drove it all the way to work and back. I had to take my car home. And so he said to fix it, the part was almost $400. And then it would have been $900 with the labor. And on the additional things that I wanted fixed on it, we were looking at $1,400. Within the last year, I put in $1,400 into my car. So on a used 10-year-old car, I am not putting $2,800 into that. So on Friday, I was jobless and carless. So Saturday, my son and a friend of his went car shopping for me. I said, do you want me to come along? No, Mom, we got this handled. So I am now the proud owner of a 6-passenger party bus van. I call it the party bus because there's just me, 6-passenger. What am I going to do with such a huge vehicle? But I sit up high. It's not like my little sports car. The next door neighbor bought my car, took it out of my driveway, so I'm very thankful for that. And so now it's just job hunting. But life is interesting, isn't it? Always full of ups and downs. So this is why I've been out of my stitching stuff. I just haven't been able to bring myself to do it. Now I think I'm picking up, and like I said, I had a bank interview today. Have you ever went to a job interview? And believe me, I've been in teaching 26 years. It's been a long time since I've been to a job interview. One lady was really nice, and the other lady did not crack a smile. And they asked a question so fast they were firing him. They gave me a math question. I'm not even sure if I answered it right on percentage of loan and all that stuff. They didn't give me a piece of paper to write anything down. And then they said they let me know within 2 weeks. Well, 2 weeks is kind of a long time. Well, even though all I've got to do is wait, right? But I'm going to have to still start looking for, teaching jobs in the meantime. But then you start looking at schools. And then if you get the bank job, then you have to say, well, I'm sorry, I have another job. And this doesn't put you on good standings with them. I also have myself to go to teacher retirement, too, which I kind of wanted to still continue putting into and not start all over again. But enough of this. Enough. But thank you for everything. You guys are awesome. Okay. So, and then, so now I'm in search of a laptop. This laptop has to go back to the school when I leave the school in the middle of May. I did find a couple of laptops in the stores. I have saved a little. I do have money in savings, so I am able to buy one, but I don't have a lot of money in savings. And my granddaughter has a laptop. She spent $1,600 for it, and she's not really sure what the value is. I'm not even sure if I can afford that. Most refurbished laptops that I was looking at were around $650. I'm not even sure I want to pay that much. You know, as long as it has a DVD disc drive and a webcam, I'm good to go. I've never used my phone. I'm not even sure how it operates doing a YouTube video, but if I have to resort to that, I will. I don't know how you can, I don't know. I just never have done it. So, but I'm thinking I need a laptop with a webcam, right? Because I have internet here at home. Okay. Oh yeah, and then I do have, I made notes, sorry. I do have a desktop, and it's not really old, but I don't want to use like that little eyeball webcam thing. Then I have to update all my software because I let that expire for my virus protection. Not that that's a huge deal, but still. I just love laptops. I love transporting them anywhere. I can make a video anywhere. And so I have my stationary desktop. I guess I'll do what I have to do. And then too, I've talked about Cooper in my previous video. Say a prayer for his mommy. And I didn't ask her what was wrong because I figured she wanted me to know. But she said she's been taking some medicine that has caused her the loss of her hair. And so she has shaved her head. And I think she looks absolutely beautiful. And so say a little prayer for her that everything works out the best and that her health recovers. And I wish I could shave my head and not deal with hair. Hey, that would be awesome. As you can see, I'm still growing it out. It's driving me insane. If I could shave my head, I'd be one happy camper. Okay, Fairy Idol. I know, Kate, you've been looking the last couple of days for your ABCs of Faith. You've misplaced it with the, I think, the floss. But I can't find my Fairy Idol. I have searched. I know I did not leave this house. I have searched everything, turned out everything upside down. I know it's going to show up one of these days. When I order a new one, I was planning on starting the Fairy Idol this weekend. Well, that didn't happen. So, I guess I'll keep looking. But I had Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and I have today off. Spent the whole time looking. Nothing. I'm bummed. It's one of my favorite patterns, and I was anxious to start it. So, say a little prayer for me that way, too, that I find Fairy Idol, that she'll just show up. I did order some 36 count this past week, and I did receive that. But I also ordered 3 skeins of cottage garden thread from Australia. So I'm anxious to get it this week. Or I ordered it last week. So hopefully it should come this week. I don't know how fast thread from Australia comes to the States, but if I get it this week, I'll make a video on this weekend and I'll show it to you. Okay, I did get my fabric of the month. Because of my job uncertainty, I decided to give up fabric of the month, and I just saw the April vanilla fabric of the month. It's beautiful. I still plan on ordering fabric. I'll just have to be a little bit more selective and maybe, watch my budget. So, I mean, I still get paid through the summer, and I'm hoping that I get a job with this bank, and then I'll have double income, and but I still gotta pay for my vehicle though too. I want to get that paid off this summer, and I gotta buy a laptop. But this is called Kaleidoscope, and it's the blues and purples. It's got a little bit of yellow to it. I don't know if you can see it. Maybe a little bit of pink. I know Steph loves her blues and purples, and I have a lot of that. So But that's that. And someday it'll have a use, or it'll go to a giveaway pile. I've been concentrating a little bit more on knitting because it seems to be a little bit more therapeutic. I don't have to concentrate as much. I found these patterns on Ravelry, and I will show you the one that I'm doing, and the pattern does not give it justice for the thread. Oh, I have the other one downstairs in the basement. I'll have to show that to you later. But these are all cross-stitched on there. I was looking for 1974, so you'll understand the picture. But this is the pattern. It's done in greens, but if you go on Ravelry and look for cross-stitch Afghans, you might see this one in the project that is done. It's absolutely beautiful. And it's done with the Tunisian, or I call it just Afghan stitch. And there are 3 of these, and then there's the light green, which I have that downstairs in a box. But these are so, oh good grief, these are so thick that it just takes you forever to complete. So I have 100 stitches more left to put on this one, and then I have another one of these, and I think 1 or 2 of the light green ones. The only hard part, and I'm not even sure how to do it, but I noticed that some of you have been putting knitting with your cross stitch or harding. I absolutely love it. It's nice to see other projects, but it's got a chevron stitching in between the panels. I don't even know how to do that. So I guess that technically qualifies under specialty stitch, right? So hopefully I can find somebody to show me how. And then my Afghan, the one that is one of my all-time favorites. I made it before and I gave it away. Here's the pattern. And it has 4 panels. And this is panel number 2. But this is quite a bit wider. And I think, gosh, I must have been working on this a year. And if I'm, there's like 365 rows. Around 365 rows in a panel. So if I did 1 row a day, it'd take me another 2.5 years just to get this part done. So, but if I work on this, then the cross-stitching doesn't get done. It's such a dilemma all the time. But this is a Tunisian stitch too, or Afghan stitch. So I think I have, or maybe I have 200 more. Yeah, this would make a very long Afghan run. But it's taken me forever. It is such a tight weave. But it's always fun to cross stitch on those too. So I'm anxious to get that done as well. Okay, I tell you, my cross stitch projects are rather pathetic, so bear with me. I'm still working on the Cinderella. I didn't really do very much. In fact, like Katie the Stash Queen says, every stitch is closer to your goal. So I just did a little bit of white along here. Let me put this up here, maybe it'll shade it a little bit. But at this rate, I might have it done before I pass away. But this fabric is so much more pretty. That sounds awful. Yeah, I taught English. I always say the students have more influence over me than I have over them. Okay, and then I worked a little bit on Quikr Burgess. I thought, oh, this is an easy stitch. I'll have lots done. Wrong. Can't even remember what I did. I think I worked on it 2 weeks ago. Let's see, what did I do? Oh yeah, I worked on this motif here, this bird. Or actually, I think it's two birds. I did this up and around, and then I worked on the bird. So, upside down. Sorry about that. And so, this is what I have done so far. Slow and steady wins the race, right? Then I have March. Remember when I was going to get this done at the beginning of March? Okay, I should have never made that commitment. But I did get the second set of windows done. I wanted to make each one a birthday thing for, my ladies' Bible study. And there's like 8 women in there. At this rate, they may be able to have Christmas presents. Not only that, I don't sew, so somebody else is going to have to put them in cubes. But I think I need to find a job first, right? And then I decided to take my namesake sampler with to Fargo. Well, I get all the way to Fargo, which is about 140 miles from where I live, and I forgot a needle. I did have my knitting with me, but my daughter happened to have one cross-stitch needle, and by the time I decided to start stitching, Nordic Needle was closed. So anyway, I was going, and you know how I've had to restitch a lot of these letters. Well, so I was going to make the next one over here, I think it is, and there was that beautiful red and blue wreath right where this is. I couldn't figure out why this wouldn't match up. I had already stitched this wreath twice, and I was one stitch off. Yes, the perfectionist in me came out again, so I ripped out the whole wreath. My daughter tried to talk me out of it, but I couldn't let it go. Because I would hate to stitch all the way over and then find out the border, by the border looks funny. So I took it out. I put it in it was like late at night. And so I put in probably 10 stitches to restart it for the 3rd time. So that's what I did with that. Hey, 10 stitches closer to restitching what I've done. And then today, I picked up Spirit of Verlinda. After spending time with my granddaughter and everything, I realized I have to get these 2 done by Christmas. I have to get the Spirit of Verlinda done for my granddaughter. I want to start Blue Dragon, my Heaven and Earth design. I just saw somebody who did 1/28 count on a Heaven and Earth design, and it looks so detailed, but I'm thinking to myself, I don't know. I mean, excuse me, nose itches. I don't know if by the end of it, I may be blind. I don't know. But Carolyn thinks I should do it on 18 count, 2/1. So I'm still kind of leaning towards that because her piece is gorgeous. Hey, Carolyn. So I did, and then I want to do the Halloween Afghan too for my daughter. So those are all really 3 big pieces. And then I've got all these WIPS too to finish. I stress out about it every video I make. I'm sure you guys are probably sick about hearing me talk about it. But this is the Spirit of Verlinda. But I did buy a pattern too. Oh gosh, I'll have to show it to you next week. I found one at our local shop. But I did do this down here, right here, this morning. So that went by pretty fast. I'm thinking, maybe I better stick with this pattern for a while and work on this one a little bit more. I noticed that, like I said, I've mentioned this before, a lot of you work on one piece a week. I try doing that, but I find out I slack more when I do that. But, I mean, I'm sure you can see a lot more progress. I did find at our local shop, and I want to start that too, it's called something like Venus Poetry. It's an old memorabilia. I think it's out of print, but I happened to find one. And of course, I love writing, and I love like Victorian pictures or old pictures or things like that. So, but I'll try to remember to show it to you next time, or this coming weekend if I get my floss. I will show you it. But I'm still planning on making videos, you know. So, but I'll know more. They told me with this bank interview it'll be 2 weeks, so I'll probably know more then about that. Hopefully you won't open my video and find me sobbing on the screen. Oh goodness, you have to laugh because life is full of twists and turns anyway. But thank you so much for all your support. God bless and have a wonderful week. See you soon.